Right now, I don't care about football. Later in the show, I'll care about football. And by the way, we're inside of the Town Fair Tire studio. Our friends at Town Fair Tire remind you that at Town Fair Tire, you always get the guaranteed lowest price on name brand tires from Connecticut to Maine. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. And thanks to our buddy Julius Randle, we can't even enjoy what was the most riveting win in at least a decade for the Knicks.
Man, you can still enjoy it.
Well,
you can still get excited about the buzzer beater and R.J. Barrett in the last 5 minutes of the game. You can still get excited a little bit.
Well,
It's tempered a little bit, but you're still excited.
But the enthusiasm's eroded a bit because that's become secondary. I mean, let's face it.
Yeah, I mean, the win doesn't necessarily mean that much other than the fact that it was a buzzer beater and it hasn't been won at the Garden since 2006.
J.R. Smith, I think.
At the Garden.
At the Garden, correct. Wait, was that the David Lee game against the Bobcats?
That's exactly right.
I was doing the post-game show that night.
Right?
Yeah, it was like one of the few games they won that year. Don't get me in a good mood.
I'm just
Don't get me in a jovial mood.
Why not be in a jovial mood? They had a great win last night.
Because I'm pissed off at Julius Randle, and I'm not alone.
All right, so be pissed off at Julius Randle. Then we'll get excited about Evan Fournier.
And by the way, I don't know if you guys realize, there is a little something developing on this show.
What's that?
Where when I call somebody out,
oh, yes.
I mean, it's palpable now.
It's good.
First, R.J. Barrett went bonkers 2 games ago. Now he hits the game-winning dagger.
They're listening.
They are listening. Fournier, or however Andrew, Fournier. He was saying his name. Saying it so, Evan Fournier. For 3. Dude, say his name right. I was so pumped that it was on national TV last night, too, against the Celtics. And by the way, a big game.
Yeah.
Both teams have the same record. Knicks have some winnable games coming up. But the story, obviously, is Randle. Now, Julius Randle, who, by the way, who was a beast in the second half when they had the sick comeback, coming back from 25-26 down, makes a bucket, cuts it to 6, does the thumb down thing.
No, cut it to 4. It was 6. Cut it to 4.
Cut it to 4, pardon me. Does the thumb down thing. And we know that, made infamous by Baez and Lindor and Pilar with the Mets. Okay, all right. Now, after the game, when everybody should be enthralled with the win and feeling good and pumped up and happy, when emotions should settle, Julius Randle tells us to go and F ourselves as a city, as Knicks fans. Mm-hmm. That's what he said. I mean, that's not playing on words, not semantics. He said, go F yourself. By the way, 2 days after he basically took a similar position, like on Wednesday, he said the same thing. Mm-hmm. I don't give a bleep what people think. He didn't say bleep you. That was last night. But Julius Randle's been in a twisted mood now for a couple days. So before we get into all of this, maybe I don't speak for every Knicks fan, but I'm pretty sure I speak for most of us. Fuck you. All right. Now that one more time, this is from Knicks fans to Randle. Fuck you. Okay. Now that's out of it. One more. Fuck you. Okay. Now.
A year ago, BT, hold on, before you go now. A year ago, this was the star, ascension of Julius Randle. Mm-hmm. You could not stop talking about him.
Yes, he was great.
You were comparing him to some of the
Chris Bosh, remember?
Great reclamation projects in NBA history.
Well, forget about that. I said he was better than Chris Bosh.
And you said,
remember Kenny Smith started dogging me on TNT?
Yeah, and this is why they dogged you on TNT, by the way.
That's fine, but that was last year, and I was right when I said it. Now it's January 2022.
You got to incorporate the entirety of a guy. I mean, look, Julius Randle had a great season last year. He's having a bad season this year. Not bad, but you know what I mean. It's less exciting. It's less palpable than it was a year ago. And as Knicks fans, you've just gotten fed up with the inefficiency, ineffectiveness, the sour attitude, the laziness. You said this in the video you posted on Twitter, the laziness up and down the court.
Yep.
And he gets booed. And by the way, I mean, I got booed in New York many times because of fumbling and other types of things that went on early in my career. And it's not fun, but it's actually motivating in a sense. The last thing I think you can do to combat it is to lash back at them. It just doesn't work.
Never gonna. I don't care who you are. It's never going to work.
It's too many voices.
Yep.
And now in the social media world, forget it. There's no way you're winning by lashing out.
Nope. Now listen, I'll say this: if this propels him to a month run where it replicates statistically what he did a year ago, which would then obviously behoove the Knicks.
Yeah, but
I'm fine with it to an extent. But listen, last year, and this is where I think you and I are different on this. I separate. Last year, there was no bigger champion of Julius Randle than me, at least nationally, as you just said. Okay?
Annoyingly so.
I get that. That's true. It was like a Ewing-esque kind of a scene. It really was. Then we get to the playoffs, and he was an absolute dog.
DeAndre Hunter. UVA, Wahoo Wah.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't the only reason.
I mean, he shut him down.
DeAndre Hunter was in his jock every night, though. He shut him down. He was horrendous. Statistically, he was a 0.
That's right.
Now, I also didn't bag him as hard as some Knicks fans did a year ago because I thought there was context there. Number one, he was tired from carrying the team. Mm-hmm. Okay. Number two, there was not enough around him. The Knicks overachieved because of his elevation. And number three, the Hawks were just flat out better.
That's right.
Their roster was better. Okay. So I thought that in totality, Randle had this incredible breakthrough. He showed great leadership. We had this rally cry that resonated with us and like drew us. It was a galvanizing year for Knicks fans, really because of Julius Randle. So I gave him props. I gave him flowers. I love him. I defended him when I needed to. But when you pull this nonsense, and by the way, Teak, it's not like. And this is the important line of delineation. It's not like he stuck up his middle finger during the game when he was heated and worked up, which, by the way, yeah, we would talk about it, obviously. We would lead with it, obviously. But I would eventually forget about it to an extent. Mm-hmm. When you do it, and again, the thumbs down is not bad, but it's symbolic of, and we know what he meant. Then when he's asked about it after a game-winning euphoric dagger, when the guard was close to like Larry Johnson's 4-point play against the Pacers, the place went bonkers last night. For this guy not to dial it down and to tell us to go F ourselves again? No. Now we have a real problem with Julius Randle, and here's what needs to happen, all right? The Knicks need to get in his ass and make him apologize.
Do you think that's going to actually happen, though?
I don't know.
And who's doing that? Is this coming from management? Is this coming from Tibbs? Is this coming from, who's the leader on the team? It's actually him. So, where's this coming from?
It should come from Leon Rose. And I don't mean, listen, you don't treat him like he's 12. And obviously I'm worked up. You say, listen, because they all love Randle because he's a good guy by all accounts. Julius, not cool, not right. We know you messed up. Do the right thing. Provide a little context. Let's move on and let the fans know, that you at
but what
least
can he,
know.
I don't know if he can say anything that's going to make New York Knicks fans forget about it.
Yes, he can.
What can he say?
Contrition is a very powerful thing.
But it happened in the midst of a massive comeback.
No, it didn't. It happened in the midst of the locker room after the comeback when he told us to go F ourselves.
Yes.
And that's an important distinction.
But in the moment, you knew what he was thinking.
Of course.
Stop booing me. I don't care what you guys are saying. Just like with the Mets, with Lindor and Javi Baez
and Pilar
last year, saying, you guys are going to boo us. When we give you the thumbs down, we're booing you. The ironic thing is that this actually started as a positive, the thumbs down thing.
With the Yankees.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Right? For whatever it was.
That guy, that old guy with the...
Denier. Gary Denier.
That's
right.
right.
It started as a positive thing.
Yep.
And so if I wanted to be like a devil's advocate, say maybe Julius Randle is just he's being a New York historian. He's thinking back to the Yankees.
Yes. He's a regular Mike Francesa.
The Yankees
he's a
get a
wolf.
thumbs down because of Irma playing in City Field, and then, you know what I mean. And
nice theory, Tiki. Now let's get to reality.
But I don't believe that Julius Randle is a historian of New York sports. So
and I don't need him to be. I just need him to be a good player and not a guy who's trying to alienate
But
us.
I bring that up for a reason, BT, because if he was smart, and if Leon Rose or whoever the PR flacks are, they're going to try to correct this for him, that's what they would tell him to say. Just give us a little bit of something that makes us think that you are actually doing something positive for yourself and for the team, and not something as
combative
FU-ish as it's felt like it was.
877-337-6666. Unacceptable, man. Now, listen, by the way, this happened back in 1995 when, this is a couple of years before you were drafted by the Giants. Jack McDowell, who was a White Sox pitcher, who 2 years before he came to the Yankees won the Cy Young, all right? And he flipped us off in the Bronx. And I remember, and the back page, I don't know if I think it was the news, it said Jack the Flipper instead of Jack the Ripper. And he's walking off the mound, and he gives us the bird. And listen, I don't remember exactly what was said on the radio. I was still in college myself, but I knew that I was pissed, and I knew that this guy was done after 1 year, and he was. The difference is it was unacceptable then, but it was in the heat of the moment. What bothers me most about Randle, when you take, listen, I guarantee that I'm going to say something over the course of our hopefully 20-year run here at FAN. Probably going to say multiple things that my mouth gets a little ahead of my brain. It's going to happen. Probably to me more than you, okay? Because my mouth is faster, my brain is slower than yours.
Yeah, and I don't get visceral.
That's this part of the room. It's all good, and that's why we work. But when that happens, if that happens, I promise you, I'll get on the air or I'll get on social media and I'll say, my bad. It came out the wrong way. I was worked up. It didn't. It's not. I apologize if I have to, or I'll provide proper contextualization. I don't need Randle to get on his hands and knees. But if Julius Randle thinks that he's going to tell us to go F ourselves, and now at forward, number 30, Julius Randle, and we're going to give this guy a standing ovation next home game, he's nuts. Julius Randle needs to walk this back, period. He needs to walk this back. All right, let's get Dan. We start in Trumbull, Connecticut. Dan is on the fan. What up, Dan?
Hey, guys. How's it going? Great new show. Love it.
Appreciate
Great
you, man.
Spot for you guys in the afternoon. I want to talk about this Julius Randle situation and how we go from a whole season chanting this guy, 15 games in, chanting MVP when he's at the foul line or when he touches the ball. We carry on a whole season for it. But his son becomes a celebrity. His wife becomes a celebrity in New York City. Even after he goes dog against the Atlanta Hawks, we still supported him. We still praised him for taking a little bit of a pay cut to build this team, to build this culture. And he goes and starts something like this. That is something you hate to see from a guy that's supposed to be leading in New York City. And I don't even think, guys, an apology is going to fix anything this season. The only thing that's going to fix something is if they go beyond the first round in a playoff game. But besides that, this guy, Julius Randle, couldn't put himself in a worse hole, and after a really special night from the team as well.
There you go, buddy. No, I appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Dan. No, the issue
Good call.
For Julius Randle now is that the only way for him to get back in the good graces is not just to apologize, which is a given. Like he has to do that unless he just has no clue on what New York fans
he doesn't care.
are all about.
Or he doesn't care.
But if he doesn't care,
well, he better because he signed an extension.
Exactly.
It's not
he signed
a free
a
agent.
4-year,
He's sticking around.
$117 million extension. It's not like he's bouncing after next year or opting out and saying I'm going to somewhere else where I can win type of thing. And not that he's that kind of player that could do that anyways. But the only way he's getting out of this is if he goes and he balls probably even greater than he did last year, BT, where he becomes the catalyst for the New York Knicks getting to 500. That'll be hopefully in the next game against the Celtics, which is Saturday, I think.
Yeah,
Saturday
2 in a row,
on the road up in Boston. So get to 500 and then rocket this team back into the top 4. Right? If that happens,
I don't need top 4. They're not a top 4 team.
I'm just saying, and Julius Randle is the catalyst to doing it. Something like that. Then maybe the New York Knicks fans start saying, okay, well, he's a great player. I understand. We motivated him by booing him, and he got galvanized by it. But do you think that's happening this year?
The Knicks are not good enough to be a 4 seed.
And I don't think he's playing good enough to do that either.
Not even close. His body language has been horrendous this season. He has looked lazy this season. He has been statistically inefficient this season. And I can deal with that. Listen, we're going to have gripes about it. We're not happy about it. But when you tell us to go F ourselves, now we're having a different conversation. Matt is up in New City. Matt is on the fan with Tiki and Tierney. Matty, what's up, Matt?
What's going on? I called you guys yesterday telling you what young guys I think they need to look at. Maybe it's their superstar they need to think about. But, when this happened yesterday, I was very angry. My first thought was anger. But my second thought was I got to call Tiki and ask him, Tiki, can you imagine when you were a player for the Giants, you had a fumble, the fans booed you.
It happened.
And you ran to the 50-yard line.
Never.
Put your middle fingers out at the people who are spending $10,000 a year for season tickets. Can you imagine the backlash you would get?
Oh yeah, you never would. They'd never cheer you again. Seriously, that's what happens in sports like that. You can't retaliate against like negativity like that. I understand it's motivating, and you want to say, well, we'll stick it to you. We'll take that, right? Yeah, you think I suck? You're booing me? Well, take that. Look what I just did. After he did that up and under and, faked out a couple guys, and Robert Williams was one of them, and kisses it off the glass and running back. Give him the like, let's go. Instead, he gives him the thumb down.
Or
it tells you where his mind was.
That's true.
Right?
Preoccupied
like
or
he's
aware
preoccupied about, I got to find the perfect moment in this game where I can go tell the New York Knicks fans to go scratch. Right? Think about that.
That's even worse.
Because
it's calculated.
It's in the moment. They're charging back from this massive deficit. They're down 6. He gets the paint right on the edge of the paint. He dishes and ducks, and he comes up, kisses off the glass.
Clyde Frazier over here?
Yeah,
he dishes and he ducks.
I didn't put the ings on the end. That's how Frazier does it. But whatever.
Clyde.
It's a great.
We'll get Clyde on the show
It's a great moment in that game.
Yeah.
Right. Seriously.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It gets him within 4.
Yeah.
And the first thing that comes to his mind is like, not hell yeah, good job. Let me find my teammate or whatever. It's like, hey, Knick fans, go scratch.
877-337-6666. Fresh Meadows. Fred is on the fan with Tiki and Tierney. Fred.
Hey, guys, thanks for taking my call. I'm a Knicks fan going back 60 years. I was a season ticket holder for a number of years, and I'm in that MSG commercial where you see the 3 generations in
Nice.
the playground.
Yeah.
Nice.
I remember that. Sure. That was going. Yeah.
So I'm here to tell you I have never booed the Knicks once at any point in my life, and I just feel it's crazy for fans to do that. I mean, I remember in the 1974 playoffs, they actually booed Clyde one game. I mean, that's nuts. I'm sorry, that's completely nuts.
Yeah, but you know
Well,
what, Fred? Hold on, Fred. I think that the one thing that, and this is coming as a former player, the one thing I appreciated about New York fans is that they knew what they were watching. It wasn't like they were, let's go to the game and get a couple beers and we'll have a conversation, we'll chat, maybe
Go sit in the pool like in Jacksonville.
Yeah, exactly. Like I apprecited that there was, like they knew what I was doing. They knew that when I played great, they were cheering me. When I played poorly, they were aware of it. It wasn't like, yeah, but he's our guy. It's like, come on, dude, you're better than that.
Mm-hmm.
I think booing is part of it in this city. And in fact, if you work through it and you come out the other side and you're better because of it, you're acutely aware, like very acutely aware that you're disappointing the fan base. It makes you better. It really does.
That's a great point, Teak. It's a great point. And, there's a big difference knowing when to boo and having the right to boo. I mean, technically, you always have the right to boo because you pay money, and I never tell fans how to act unless you're throwing stuff or saying things that are racially insensitive and acting like a clown.
No.
Then obviously we can all weigh in on that. But even Jeter, like if Jeter is or was 0 for 23, you know what? He's still busting his tail down the line.
Yeah.
And if a player, even that, and nobody, Jeter's as revered as anybody the last 30 years, whatever, as long as there's effort, like a lack of production, you need to have you need to delineate between poor performance and poor effort.
Yeah.
If you're in a rough spot but you're trying, I'm not going to boo you. But if you're not playing hard, and Randle too much this year has looked like he's dogging it.
Yeah. No,
lazy.
The issue is that no player, I mean, you got to be iconic. You got to be there for like multiple years and had multiple years of success. Maybe not quite winning a championship, but you are that big, that player that everybody knows is going to give it every single bit of effort every single night, and you're beyond reproach. You don't boo that guy. There's very few New York athletes that fall into that category. Mm-hmm. Very few.
Yeah, Jeter's one of them, but Jeter even heard a couple of boos over the year. Not many.
That's right.
Not many, but a little. Mariano Rivera got booed. I remember that. Whatever year it was, but he blew a couple of games early against the Red Sox. They booed Mariano. No, I hear you, Teague. This is lunacy. And listen, it's 10:20. I told you the other day, there's no team in this city that monitors sports radio like the Knicks. So for all the times that it's misguided them over the not lately, because this is a little bit of it's a different culture at the Garden, which I acknowledge and I appreciate. But I'm talking about back in the day when they would get in their own way and they would listen to things and it would actually be a hindrance. I hope they're listening to this, and I hope they are crafting an intelligent plan to diffuse this. And it's got to start with an honest communication to Randle. Randle's got to be a big boy, look in the mirror, and say, you know what? I messed up. And if you say that, we move on. 877-337-6666. If you don't, we make your life miserable. There's really no in between. Tiki and Tierney on the Fan.